Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to Open Mic here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is the most special of days. It's Star Wars Day, everybody. May the 4th be with you. I've been loving all the tweets and everything I've been getting from people with everybody around the world celebrating May the 4th, all these cool graphics. Somebody even sent me this great this picture of a digital board at Heathrow Airport where they took one of their departure and arrival screens and made it all Star Wars, like flight to Jakku, delayed due to sandstorms. Flight to Kashyyyk this, flight to that, and then it gets flight to Alderaan, just in big red letters, canceled, with no explanation. I love it. So it is May the 4th. So guys, everybody, May the 4th be with you. Here on Open Mic, it's just a bunch of friends standing around a virtual water cooler talking about our favorite things in the world, movies, movie news, and all that kind of stuff. Of course, on the John Campea Show in the afternoon, we talk about all the newest movie news, and we run down all the latest movie news, and we save a few minutes for some live questions. But on Open Mic, that's all we do, is live questions. So, with all that out of the way, let's jump into it today. And the first live question today comes to us from Kyle B. And Kyle B. writes, John, I would highly recommend It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's like Seinfeld on steroids. You would probably change your top 10 sitcoms list if you watch it. Well, yeah, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of those shows that I have a lot of friends of mine like and watch. And not all of them like it, but a bunch of them do. I've watched a few episodes, maybe grand total about 5 episodes. I will admit, and maybe it's just the 5 episodes I've seen, and they weren't in any particular order. I've just watched 5 random episodes, and there were certainly a few episodes that were pretty cute and whatever. It might be one of those situations where it's a show like, say, Parks and Rec, where you really only start to appreciate the show once you get to know the characters. And once you're really familiar with the characters. And then when you know them, certain jokes work better. So it might be a situation like that. But I have had a bunch of people. I've never had anybody tell me it would crack my top 10 all-time favorite sitcoms. You're the first for that. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever have the time, though. There's so many shows on my to binge list, and I'm falling further and further behind. I don't know if It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is going to be one I'm going to get around to, but who knows? You never know. All right, next one. King of the Hills writes, May the 4th be with you, and may the 4th be with you as well, my friend. Happy Star Wars Day. All right, this one comes to us from Orange Hand, and Orange Hand writes, really like Into the Badlands. Oh, I do too. My one issue is that MK's gift used to seem rare and special. Now it seems every character has it too. Well, I don't want to go into that too much, Orange Hand, because not everybody has started watching Into the Badlands. So I don't want to give too much away. I only myself started watching it recently, and I haven't started watching season 3 yet. So I'm all caught up to the end of season 2. I have not started watching season 3 yet. So I don't want to go into that too much. I have noticed from the trailers that seems to be the case. The thing that you're pointing out specifically, the trailers do seem to just suggest that's the case. And that's unfortunate if that's what they're doing. But I'm sure they have a narrative purpose for it. At least I hope they do. But look, all I know is this. I have watched the first 2 seasons of Into the Badlands. I probably binged them in over a 2-week period. I watched the first 2 seasons. Love this show. Love it. The melding of the post-apocalyptic with the case system, with the style of the old kung fu serials we used to watch. All put together makes for a dynamite show. Nick Frost, I thought, Nick Frost is in this? And I kind of thought that was weird. But then I really have come to love the character. So, if you're looking for a new show to start watching, try Into the Badlands. It's an AMC show, but the first two seasons are on Netflix. So you might want to give that a shot. I'm really enjoying it. All right, let's move on here. Inferno writes, last night I saw Lone Survivor for the first time. Easily my favorite movie of all time. Soundtrack was amazing. Got a little teary at the end. Question, most recent movie to make you teary? Most recent? I don't know, man. I'd have to think about that. Because not a lot of movies, even movies I absolutely love, not a lot of movies make me teary. Yeah, you caught me flat-footed. I don't know. I would really have to think about it. I like Lone Survivor a lot. It's not in my top 30 or 40 or 50, but I liked it a lot. It's a good movie, solid movie. I'm glad you like it that much. It's funny because Wahlberg and Oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank on the name of the director that he works with all the time? Hold on a second. Sorry, I got to look this up because it's going to drive me crazy until I look. It's Peter Berg. That's right. Him and Peter Berg have made, like, whether it's the Boston bombing movie that they did, which is incredible, the oil rig movie that they did together, which was really good. Like, that surprised me a lot. That one, they have forged a really good partnership. So and this may sound weird, but I think you've got to talk about them when you're talking about great director-actor pairings and what they've been able to pull off together. I think you need to have them in the conversation when you're talking about Scorsese and DiCaprio, or, Tim Burton and Johnny Depp, or whatever. I think you've got to have Peter Berg, Mark Wahlberg in that conversation. They have made some really good films together. And I think it kind of goes under the radar a little bit. So, yeah, I'm glad you like that one. Thanks for mentioning it. All right, next one comes to us from the number Thor, who writes, better hip-hop biopic. Get Rich or Die Trying. Didn't really like that one. 8 Mile. I thought that one was a little bit overrated, to be honest. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate 8 Mile. Not at all. It's okay. It's okay. I just think it gets a little bit overrated. Notorious About Biggie, which is all right. Straight Outta Compton, which was great. And All Eyes on Me, which I didn't really like. Straight Outta Compton, here's the thing. The first 3/4 of Straight Outta Compton, no pun intended, but I straight up loved. The first 3/4 of Straight Outta Compton, I straight up loved. Like, I remember watching it and being about halfway through and going, holy crap, this might end up being in my top 10 films of the year. I mean, maybe even in my top 3 films of the year. Like, I was just eating that movie up. Here's the one big flaw. So out of that list, I'll take Straight Outta Compton. For sure, I'll take that. I easily like that movie the best out of those. The one problem I had with Straight Outta Compton is that one of the big strengths of the movie, especially halfway through, 3/4 of the way through, is that there was laser focus on the primary story. Like a real laser focus. They had all this stuff going on, but somehow the director found a way, F. Gary Gray, the director, found a way to always keep a really laser sharp focus on what the story at this moment is. You know what I mean? And it really brought the audience, amidst all the chaos, it really brought the audience along. My problem was that in the last quarter, not even the final act, but the last quarter of the movie, I felt like they tried starting to tell 5 different stories. And this laser focus we had for the first 3/4 all of a sudden got shattered and went into 15 different directions. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, what was incredible flow and laser focus turned to, now let's jump to this story, now let's jump to this story, now let's jump to this story, now let's jump to this, and they'll come up over here, and it just it felt like it unraveled a little bit in the final quarter. The first 3/4 were so good, I still ended up coming out of the theater going, wow, that was great. I really enjoyed that film. I do wish the final 20-25% of the film maintained a little bit more of its focus and energy, but it's only a quarter of the film that did that. The other 3/4 maintained it great, and it was a really enjoyable film, and I like it a lot. So out of that list of films, I'll definitely take Straight Outta Compton. All right. Number Thor also writes, also last question, best on-screen Hercules. I say Kevin Sorbo. He will always be Hercules to me. Your thoughts? No, but here's the thing about Sorbo. Sorbo's Hercules was a very different kind of Hercules. It was a very specific Hercules. It isn't the traditional Hercules. It's a very specific Hercules that they made specifically for that specific show. The Hercules was just a smile, happy-go-lucky guy. Hey, everybody. Do, 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 do. And for the context of the show, it was really good. That specific tailor-made Hercules worked very well for that specific tailor-made show. However, I'll be honest with you, when I think Hercules, I don't think of the Kevin Sorbo character. I almost don't even count the Kevin Sorbo show as really Hercules. So it's such a different, such an elsewhere, such an alternative way to look at the character than traditionally it has been. It's almost not even really Hercules. So just for myself, and I'm not crap talking on the show because it was a fun show. it just wasn't Hercules. You know what I mean? But that's fine, whatever. So when I think of Hercules, I think the best Hercules to me was still Lou Ferrigno. I don't know. Lou Ferrigno, a lot of people forget Schwarzenegger himself played Hercules. I really like the Jason Momoa Hercules. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I love the movie, but I liked the incarnation of Hercules that they made the Jason Momoa Hercules. I like the character quite a bit, even if the movie had some shortcomings, let's say, built around it. But, I'll go Ferrigno. Honestly, whenever somebody says Hercules, the first image that pops in my head is Ferrigno. So I'm going to go with the Ferrigno one for now. Not that it's the best movie, but he's going to be Hercules to me for a very long time. All right. Drew G writes, I don't always agree with your views. You're not supposed to, whether it's political or movies, but I love how my viewpoints get challenged watching you. That's why you are the best. Well, thank you so much, Drew. And you know what? You get it. You clearly get it, which is great to see. Like, honestly, you are the type of viewer every show like mine wants to have. Like, understanding that it's not about agreeing with what I'm saying. It's about, whether or not I'm good at expressing my point of view in such a way that it helps you better understand why you agree with me, or help you better understand why you disagree with me, and allow yourself to be challenged a little bit. And at the end of the day, if you end up agreeing with me or disagreeing with me, it doesn't matter. All that matters was, did you find yourself challenging your own point of view? Did you find yourself better understanding and having a better appreciation for your own point of view? And also getting a little bit of a better understanding of what the opposing points of view are. That's what it's all about, especially when it comes to movies. I mean, I wish more people could have that point of view in politics as well, but in the world of movie community, that's what it's all about. That's why we got to be able to have fun debate and arguments and go, are you crazy? Like we can do that when we understand the subjectivity film and all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much, Drew. That's honestly one of the highest compliments you could give me, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. Dimsum05 writes, watching Infinity War again, that Geico heckler ad is funny. I don't know what it is we're talking about. Which Geico heckler ad, and I'm not... Is that in Infinity War at some point? I'm not quite sure what we're talking about, Dim Sum. I'm sure you've got a very clear picture in your head, but it didn't translate well out on the text. Maybe if you guys know what he's talking about, chat about it in the chat board. Maybe it's just going over my head at the moment. Okay. Murray for Us writes, I wish Fandango had a split payment option if you're buying 2 or more tickets. Also, if they had an option you can cancel your friend's tickets in case they can't make it, what do you think? Well, that's a hard sell. First of all, having the option to split costs on ticket, in the advent of apps like my app of choice, my cash sending app of choice is the Cash app by Squarespace. Not by Squarespace, but by Square. Square makes an app called Cash. That's simply what it is. And you can just use your phone and say, oh, send this much money to this guy. Boom. And it's instantly in his bank account. Just like that. It's so easy. It has made going to lunch with friends so much easier for me and my friends. Because instead of everybody going, okay, now everybody puts in their credit card. Please put $5 on this one and $7.20 on that one and $10.18 on that one and $7 on that one. And everybody's trying to figure it out. It's just simple. Me and my buddies or friends go to lunch. One of us pulls out the card and sends it away to the waiter. And then we just figured out how much it sells. Okay, you owe me $6. Okay, great. Cash app, $6. Boom, send to John. Bam, done. There's also the Venmo app. A lot of people like using the Venmo app. I use that one occasionally too. It's pretty good. I prefer the Cash app, but Venmo app is pretty good too. So in the age of Cash apps and Venmo and a lot of the banks use this app now called Zeal. Is that what it's called? So if you have your banking app, a lot of banks now use this cash transfer app called Zeal right in their banking app. So you can just boom, hit a button and send money. So having a place like Fandango or any place else giving you the option to split the cost of a ticket is almost obsolete now, because just pay for the ticket and have your friend sitting beside you going, okay, here's the $18 I owe you. Boom, and just hit the button and you've got it. So to me, that's not really a big issue. I don't care about that. The option of being able to cancel a ticket, that puts Fandango in a very awkward spot. I mean, look, if you buy a ticket, you buy a ticket. And because once you buy a ticket, Now the movie theater, here's an extreme example, but follow me here. So let's say, like Solo. The tickets for Solo just went on sale last night. Oh my God, true story. You guys know how I've been the one going, like, I'm a major Star Wars nut. I'm probably the major Star Wars nut. But even I have been going, look, I just don't see Solo with, I don't care what all the tracking numbers say. I just don't see Solo doing that great. I mean, with all the drama about it going on and the fact that a bunch of people didn't like The Last Jedi, I just don't see it doing that good. Oh my God. So last night, I get the notification on my phone, like, bing, my notification goes off. Solo tickets now on sale. What? Okay, so me and Ann go, okay, we're going to go opening night. Like, we're going to go see it. I'm going to see it on Thursday. Not tonight, but 1 week from tonight. Actually, what day is it today? Today's Thursday, isn't it? Or is today Friday? Is today Friday? Am I losing? Oh my God, I'm going crazy. Today's Friday. Okay, so yes, on Thursday, this coming Thursday, I'm going to go see Solo. So, yay! So Ann and I were like, we're going to go see Solo on the premiere, but do we want tickets opening night, right? Yeah, we want tickets opening night. Okay, great. Now remember, I just got the notification, literally. The official notification went out 30 seconds earlier. You know, okay, Solo tickets are on sale. Bing! Now. Okay, turn to Ann quick. We want to go see this? Of course we want to go see it opening night. Okay, baby. Hop on the app. Open up my local movie theater here, AMC. Go to the theater, and holy crap, like 98% of the seats were already sold. And I'm like, well, I guess we're sitting. There were a few seats, back row. In an AMC Prime, back row is actually really, really good seats. I love back row at the AMC Prime. But anyway, it was just back row left, like 5 or 6 seats back row left. And I'm like, okay, I can't even think about this. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just to be safe, I'm going to buy 4 tickets just in case we have a couple of friends that want to come. So I'm like, click, 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 and buy 4 tickets. I could not believe how fast that theater sold out. I could not believe it. I'm just like, am I wrong about this? Like, is this thing actually going to top 150 million opening weekend? I did not think that was possible. But hearing the reactions in the theaters from when the trailer plays, seeing these projection numbers coming out, and now last night, oh yeah, these tickets went on sale 30 seconds ago, and the theaters are sold out. I mean, I was floored. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about this whole thing. Maybe I'm wrong about how popular this Solo movie is going to be. I never thought 150 million was possible. Now, I've got a buddy of mine who thought like 40 million opening weekend, and I didn't think that was possible either. That was too low, but I did not think 150 million, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyway, so getting back to, sorry, I went off on a huge rabbit trail there. So let's use Solo as an example, okay? So let's say I want to buy tickets, and you and your buddy, you buy a ticket for you and 2 buddies. Okay, you get there before me, and you buy the tickets. Now, I go to buy tickets, and those seats aren't available because you bought them. Fair enough. Nah, man, I don't think you should be allowed to return them. It's like, I'm screwed. I already missed out. So if you bought them, then buy them only if you're going to use them. So I don't know how I feel about returning tickets. Like, you buy the tickets. If you can't go, then it's on you to get a friend of yours to take them off your hands. That's how I feel at any rate. Maybe I'm dead wrong about that. Maybe I should think about that a little bit more. But like, once you buy that ticket, you have taken away a seat that I can buy. Once you buy it, you've taken away a seat that I can buy, which is totally fine if you're going to use that seat. But look, if your buddy cancels on you, guess what? Tough for your buddy. Your buddy owes you $10. If your buddy says, yeah, grab me a ticket, because this is my thing too. Because I had this happen to me last year. Buddy, well, first of all, whenever I go to the movies, I always see if any of my friends want to go, and they go, yeah, buy me a ticket, whatever. Okay, so I buy that many tickets, and then they just pay me back later. And so this rarely happens, but last year, it's happened to me a couple times. Last year, that specific situation happened. Bought a ticket because my buddy said he wanted to go, and like 2 hours before the movie, it was like, oh man, I can't go now. I'm like, okay, no problem, but send me $17 because that's how much the ticket was. Send me $17. He goes, but I said I can't go. I said, hey dude, you told me 2 weeks ago you were going. I bought your ticket because you told me you were going. You are sending me $17, and do not forget I am Italian. You don't want me to send some people to come and knock on your door. I wouldn't do that. So yeah, send me $17, pal. So in my opinion, if your buddy backs out, that's not Fandango's responsibility. That's your buddy's responsibility. Your buddy still owes you that $17. So get another friend to go, get another friend to pick up the ticket, whatever, but your friend still owes you that money. It's not Fandango's problem. It's your buddy's problem. That's my point of view at any rate. Maybe I'm completely wrong about that. All right, let's keep going here. Murray for Us writes, is there such a thing in AMC or any other theater chains where you can pre-order food and have it delivered to your seat? Well, I know there are more and more theaters where you can pre-order your snacks. You can pre-order your snacks on an app, and then when you show up to the movie theater, there should be an area of the concession stand that's just for picking up orders, and they should have your order there for you. I know there are theaters that do that. As far as the ones that will actually bring food to your seat, I know there's a thing called AMC Dine-In theaters, because I have been to AMC Dine-In a couple times. It's fabulous. Unfortunately, I don't have an AMC Dine-In really close to me. The closest one to me, I believe, is in Marina Del Rey, which is like a 45-minute or an hour-long drive from where I live. So I've only gone to that one a couple of times, but it is a great experience. Like, awesome experience, because you get even more, like a bigger, more plush leather recliner seat than you get in even Prime, and you get more legroom, and you get this table swivel out in front of you, and they will bring your food right to you. And you can even order from your seat. You can get in your seat and order from there, and they will bring it to you. It's a fabulous experience. So I'm sure other movie theater chains have premium experiences like that too. I'm just haven't experienced them. But the AMC Dine-In is a fabulous experience. If you get a chance to try out an AMC Dine-In, give it a shot. I highly recommend it. All right, next one comes to us from History Soup. And History Soup writes, it bothers me to know that co-stars hate each other. You know what? Not really. Like, take Mad Max, for example. Mad Max Fury Road. Very popular film. You got Tom Hardy, you got Charlize Theron. Apparently they hated each other. And I didn't hear about that until after the movie was out. But apparently those two cats did not like each other at all. But you know what? I watched the movie again in home video and was like, yeah, it didn't bother me. I think it might bother me if it's supposed to be like a long love interest movie. Like, let's say, for example, that, I don't know, I'm pulling one out of my ass here, the Twilight franchise, okay? Let's say that Robert Pattinson, and I can't even remember the girl's name, whoever played Bella. So let's say Robert Pattinson and the girl who played Bella, they're supposed to have this like 4-movie long arc romance, and we're supposed to believe they're so in love with each other. If I found out that during the shooting of that movie, they hated each other, that might affect me. I can't recall a situation where I've come across that. That may affect me. But for the most part, a lot of the times when we hear these stories about off camera, these people did not get along, it's never really bothered me so much. It may if it's a romance, but other than that, no, it never really bothered me so much. So I can see why it would, though. I can see, because if you're watching them and all you're thinking about is these two people hate each other, that could be distracting. So I could see why it would bother you. I got to be honest with you, though. It's never really happened to me. I've never really felt that way about it. All right. D. Patience writes, hubby and I are seeing Infinity War again. What's your favorite moment that you missed the first time around? Oh, D, I cannot. That would be a spoiler. I remember the movie's only been out for a week. I know it feels like an eternity. We have done 4 parts of our Avengers Infinity War spoiler discussion videos, and we're only about halfway through. I still got at least 2 more parts to go. And it feels like this movie's been out forever. But it has actually only been out for a week. So I don't want to be talking too much about the intricacies and things specifics that happen in the movie, when I know there are probably some people watching the show right now that have not had a chance to watch Infinity War yet. So I cannot answer that question. I hope you understand. Inferno writes, was the Iron Spider suit... Yeah, you know what? That could be kind of spoilery too. So I'm going to skip that one as well, Inferno. Sorry about that. Let's see. D writes, got solo tickets last night. I was just talking about that. Only a couple seats sold. Oh, God, not in my theater. But same as Black Panther, Deadpool, etc. How heavily do box office predictions rely on pre-sales? Not much. Remember, the tracking numbers came out before the pre-sales ever started. The formula for tracking, which is normally pretty like 95% of the time, the tracking is within about 3 to 5%, which is pretty damn accurate. But they base it on market awareness, some surveys, things like a whole, saturation, blah, blah, blah. I read the formula of it once. I'd have to go look it up again. But no, it's not really based on pre-sales. Because again, the tracking numbers often will come out before pre-sales have even begun. And maybe only a couple seats sold in your theater. But oh my God, my theater was like pretty much sold out like 5 minutes after the announcement came that seats were available. So it's, I had a little bit of a different experience than you did, D. Dylan Robbins writes, will we ever get a Raid 3? That's a good question. I mean, how much more can you really do? There's a friend of mine named Todd, who's actually one of the producers of the film. I mean, Todd is an amazing story. This guy, I know Todd. When I started the movie blog, he wrote on the movie blog with me. Now, this is in the earliest days of the movie blog. So he wrote on the movie blog with me. But he really wanted to write about other stuff. So he went off and started doing his own thing. And his thing became the absolute best website for foreign and Asian in particular film, stuff like that. It was called Twitch. Not to be confused with the game streaming. His site was called Twitch, and it was around before the Twitch streaming service. But it was called Twitch. Absolutely the best movie website of its kind. Absolutely the best of its kind. He went on to become very big in those circles, and was even one of the big programmers for Fantastic Fest in Austin, which he later very publicly left because of stuff going on with Alamo Drafthouse. Alamo Drafthouse, which is the company behind the Fantastic Fest. But whatever, he left that. But anyway, in doing all that, he made a lot of connections, blah, blah, and he became a producer of this little action film called The Raid. And then they produced a second one. And it's amazing what that dude has accomplished. Seriously, he's done so great. He's so good in that field. It's amazing. Anyway, will there be a Raid 3? You know what? I thought I heard whispers of it. I know I've heard whispers of it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head. What they're going to do and what they won't do, but I'm sure a lot of people want to see it. They're some of the best action films ever made. They're just incredible. If you've never seen the Raid films, you really should. They're quite fun. We are getting a North American remake of Raid, so keep your eyes open for that. Okay, Dim Sum 05 writes, what makes MCU musical scores bad? Is it that they aren't memorable? Is it that they make a score? Is that what makes a score good? What about subtlety? I've never said that the Marvel scores are bad. I don't think I've ever said they're bad. I don't know. A lot of people say they're bad. I honestly don't know what the big difference is. Look, the one thing about, say, the DCU scores, particularly let's talk about Zimmer and his Man of Steel, right? He makes these epic pieces that are memorable, But you're right, Dim Sum. The goal of a piece of music and a score, to me, is not to stand out and be memorable. It's to intensify, highlight, and accentuate the scene that the music is playing in. And sometimes that means good visual effects. Sometimes good visual effects are the effects you don't even notice. You'll know that a visual effects artist has done a good job if you don't even notice what's going on. And I think sometimes score is the same thing. Sometimes great score is a score that you don't even recognize or realize what's going on with the score, because what the score is really doing is playing to intensify whatever the experience is the director is trying to portray in that particular scene. So you can come out of a movie and couldn't possibly hum a single note of a score, but maybe that score was amazing and really did its job. Then you get some scores that are very memorable, that you do recognize the music. Like, and for me, Zimmer's Man of Steel, bum, 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 bum. Like, I get chills when I think about that. Or, I mean, the king of that is John Williams, right? Whether it's Jaws or E.T. or Raiders of the Lost Ark or Jurassic Park or Indiana Jones or Star Wars or Superman or or Harry Potter. I just named all of them. You instantly can hum all of the pieces of music to all of those. John Williams is the king of that. But that's not the key to a great score. To me, the key to a great score is how well does it do in playing to, underskirting, intensifying, and accentuating the experience that the director is trying to convey to the audience in that particular moment. That's the strength of a score. And that's just kind of how I see it. Anyway, the good question, man. Next one comes to us from Murray for Us. And Murray for Us writes, my local Regal Theater had limited showings for Solo, so I had to buy pre-assigned seats in a different Regal Theater because the earliest one they had was 10:30, which is too late. Why should I be stuck without a seat? I'm not sure what it is you're asking, Murray. Let me read that one more time. My local Regal Theater had limited showings for Solo, so I had to buy pre-assigned seats in a different Regal Theater. Okay, I'm with you so far. Because the earliest they had was a 10:30, which I get that, which is too late. Get it. Why should I be stuck without a seat? I'm not sure. Are you basically saying, hey, sorry, my local theater, I had to go to another theater because I don't want to be stuck without a seat at the local theater, so I went to another one. If that's what you're saying, you're totally right. Yeah. Absolutely. 100% you're right. Look, there's no such thing as theater loyalty, okay? The theaters aren't loyal to you. You don't need to be loyal to a theater. If you can enjoy a mutually beneficial relationship, that's great, but you owe them nothing and they owe you nothing. So that's fine. Yeah, absolutely. Look, and I'll tell you right now, if Ann and I hopped online last night to buy our seats for Solo, and it was completely sold out, I wouldn't go, oh, well, I'm only loyal to this theater. Hell no, I would have started looking at every other movie theater that was around to make sure I get to see it opening night with the audience. Are you kidding me? Of course I would have. And you should too. Absolutely, you should too. So you're totally justified in doing that. Let's see. Chris Miner writes, may the 4th be with you, John, and may the 4th be with you as well, Chris. Time to blast the Yub Nub song. Bum, bum. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, damn, it's stuck in my head now. Me too. Keep up the great work from Memphis. I enjoy Memphis. I got a buddy of mine that lives in Nashville, and I had a chance to run out to visit him. Swung into Memphis. Really enjoyed it. I got to make another trip because my buddy. His name's Jeff. He has one of the coolest jobs in the world. So my buddy Jeff, sorry, I'm going off on a little tangent here. Story time. But my buddy Jeff from Canada, so he was a little lighting guy. He started doing lights for like little local bands that need, so he would set up a couple of lights and do their lights when they do shows, right? Well, he started buying more lights and more lights and more lights. And pretty soon he was a full-blown company. Then he had people working with him, and then bigger names, like not A-list, but like legit C-list musical names started to hire him to go and light their shows. And then bands that were going on tours started to hire him to come on tour with them. And then he started building more and more and more and more. And before you know it, now he lives in Nashville. He moved his business to Nashville. He's got this warehouse filled with the highest of high-tech concert lighting system. Now what he does is big touring bands come to him when they're about to go on a big tour, and he designs their light show, then puts together all the equipment they're going to need, and then staffs it and sends them, or he goes out with them on tour. And he has played with some of the biggest names in the business, right? So anyway, my buddy Jeff he texted me like 2 weeks ago, and he's like, hey, John, I'm at the Greek Theater tomorrow night. I'm in town. I'm going to be at the Greek Theater tomorrow night. Are you free? And I'm like, and I wasn't free. I couldn't go down and see him. And I haven't seen him in like 2 years. But it's like, no, but it got me thinking, I've got to go down and visit Tennessee. I think I got to get on a plane sometime, probably in the next couple of months, and fly out to Tennessee and visit him. Because first of all, I just love Tennessee. And I love Nashville. I love his hometown. So That all because you mentioned you were from Memphis. There you go. Let's see. Next one. Sorry, guys. I can get off on a tangent and start getting into story time. Sorry about that. Okay, where did D go? Hold on a second. Bum, 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 bum. I'll keep you entertained. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, here we go. And D is back up. D writes, when will you decide on revisit reviews versus movie club? What's your criteria for choosing? Are you doing both? Okay, great question. Thank you for bringing that up, D. Okay, so I announced the other day, and I was either going to do revisit reviews, which is like, hey, reviewing some older films, because I think there's some really great older films that deserve to be revisited and talk about again. Or if we got a new movie coming out, let's look back at a movie that we loved just even like 6 months ago. And how does it stand up now? Now, 6 months later, let's look at it again. How do we feel about it now? Stuff like that. So older films, more recent films, whatever, just revisit the reviews. But then what happened was we did the Avengers Infinity War open spoiler discussion video. We went 2.5 hours on part 1. There were so many people watching and so many questions and comments and observations people sent in about the movie that we did a part 2 and a part 3 and a part 4, and we still have tons of those questions backlogged that we're trying to get through. Like, fact checker Jonathan and I are going to do another hour and a half later today for part 5, and that still won't get us through them all. It's probably going to end up being 6 parts. So that got me thinking, and a few of you guys had the same idea too. What if once a week we did a movie club? Where now I'm going to do spoiler review discussions for Solo and for Deadpool 2. I got my Deadpool 2 invitation yesterday, which is great. But I'm going to do those for sure. But what if like once a week we do a movie club? Where it's like, okay guys, this week, I'll let you know like 5 days in advance. This week for movie club, we're going to do Gladiator. The Ridley Scott, Russell Crowe, Best Picture winner, Gladiator. Some of you haven't watched it in a long time. Some of you haven't watched it at all. You got a week now to sit down and watch Gladiator, and then we're going to have a full open spoiler discussion about it for 45 minutes on Saturday or Sunday, whatever the day will be. Probably Sunday we'll make it. Anyway, so I was trying to decide, do we do revisit reviews, quick, short, to the point, or do we do the bigger, more open discussion stuff? I think I've decided to do both, and here's why. Because I want to be able to do revisit reviews for like older, more classic films as well. Like, well, to me, Best of the Best is older and more classic. Or like, for instance, like Highlander, the original Highlander, whatever. And I think movies like those, I don't think a lot of people would come and join in live for a movie club episode. But a bunch of people may watch revisit reviews of it when I launch it, but also for the next few years as it's sitting there on YouTube. But then for some bigger films, like Gladiator, bigger films that we all should be watching, like, say, Godfather Part 2, we've got Ant-Man 2 coming out, so we'll probably do a movie club for the original Ant-Man, since that's coming out. To do bigger films, we'll do those with Movie Club. For more obscure films that not many people would tune in anyway for Movie Club, I'll probably do revisit reviews. So I think, D, what I have decided is that I'm going to do both. I think I'm going to do both. And I heard, because I put out a poll asking you guys which one should I do, and I got a lot of great feedback from you guys, which basically convinced me that, yeah, clearly I think I should do both. So we're going to start doing revisit reviews and Movie Club. And Movie Club is going to start next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend we're going to start Movie Club. So I'm going to work on figuring out what the first movie for Movie Club is going to be, and I'll let you guys know probably either this weekend or Monday which movie we're going to do for Movie Club first. So you got a whole week to set aside some time to make sure you get caught up on that movie, and then we'll do Movie Club probably on the weekend. Anyway, thanks for asking, D. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm just waiting for every other like movie website to copy me, because that's basically what happens. I introduce a way of doing things, and every other thing copies me, but whatever. That's innovation. That's how it works. I'm not bitter about it. Chris Miner writes, also, thoughts on Tom Petty. He is my favorite, R.I.P. Oh, he had some great songs. You guys know I play guitar, and I played in bands and things like that. And there are a number of Tom Petty songs I used to love to do. whether it's Free Fallin' or, whatever. Like, Tom Petty was great. And I even liked, you know what? Straight up, I'm not even being facetious here. I love the Traveling Wilburys. I loved the Traveling Wilburys. And they're almost all gone now. I mean, ugh. Anyway, Adam K writes, Ready Player One has made $554 million. Is this a good result? I mean, yeah, it's a good result. It's a good result for any movie. It's profitable. It's good. I mean, it's a big number. But that movie was so good, it deserved more. It deserved more. It really did. It's a nice number, 554, because the budget. Let's see here. The budget wasn't huge. I mean, it wasn't like $300 million. Like Solo probably ended up being, like Justice League ended up being because of all the reshoots. It wasn't like $300 million and therefore it needs like $650 million just to break even. It was like half of that. So I think 160, 170, I think it was. Hold on a second. 175. So yeah, at $550 million, they're fine. It's profitable. They made money. Great. But it deserved more. It was a great movie. It's a great spectacle movie. It's a great, big theatrical experience movie. It deserved more. So yeah, that's fine. 554. Yeah, it's fine. Most filmmakers would kill to have a movie that makes that much, but really, it should have made more because it's just that good. So anyway, that's how I feel about it. Inferno writes, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Thor's in a cage. Love the new path they have taken with Thor. Keep up the great work. Well, in Thor Ragnarok, there's a great moment where Thor and Loki are talking. And Thor, I'm paraphrasing here, but the basic conversation between Thor and Loki was life is about change, is about evolving. You, brother, you've just stayed the same. And I feel like that was like Taika Waititi and Kevin Feige's way of winking to the audience saying, yeah, Thor has evolved. Thor changes and Thor evolves. And it's a different Thor now than what we had in the very first Thor movie. It's a different Thor. He's evolved. And he'll continue evolving. And then when we get into Infinity War, no spoilers, but when we get into Infinity War, we see he's evolved even more. He's evolved even further, which is great. He's this character who is taking the compounded total of his experiences as he's gone through all these films, and it changes him and he evolves. And I loved the Thor that we got in Ragnarok, but he's evolved even more in Avengers Infinity War. And I love that they do that with this character. Because that's what happens to people. We evolve, we change. We go through traumatic, huge, big experiences, and it changes us in some ways. And as we go through more of them, it alters us even more, and we evolve and change as people. And I love the fact that as a movie character, they've done the same. He still feels very consistent, but evolved at the same time. And I love that they did that. Let's see. Ben Rayner writes, are you going to watch any Star Wars movies today? Well, as a matter of fact, every once in a while, Ann and I like to have a games night. We just invite a couple of friends over, and we'll play either a video game, or we'll pull out. We love playing Cards Against Humanity, or we'll pull out a Clue game. Like we've got a Game of Thrones Clue and whatever. But what I'm going to do today is while everybody comes over, and plus we're in our new place, so it's kind of like a little housewarming party tonight too. But when everybody comes over, I'm just going to have Star Wars movies playing on the screen in the background. So I am sort of going to be watching Star Wars movies today. Unfortunately, my day is just way too packed to just take out 2 hours, to just sit down and watch a movie. I don't have that time today. I rarely have that time, but I don't have that time today. But I will definitely be having Star Wars playing on my screens today, for sure. John Demoto writes, do you think Avengers Infinity War can gross over $2 billion? It's absolutely possible. Here's the thing. So it is about to either tie or break Star Wars The Force Awakens record of fastest movie to $1 billion. And it's going to, if it ties it, it'll tie it. If it beats it, it'll beat it by a day or two. At that pace, it should get to $2 billion. But here's the challenge it's going to face. It's got a week or two all to itself. But then on May 18th comes Deadpool 2. And then the week after that comes Solo. And then Jurassic World's not too far behind that. And then we got Mission Impossible 6 and blah, blah, blah. So the question becomes, can it have, it's on pace with Star Wars The Force Awakens right now, which did just get over $2 billion. And it's even ahead of pace of The Force Awakens a little bit. The question will be, can it have the sort of legs that Star Wars The Force Awakens had? Because to be honest with you, even as a Star Wars fan, I got to be honest with you, Avengers Infinity War has a little bit more difficult path in front of it than Black Panther did, than Star Wars The Force Awakens did. It's got a more difficult path in front of it because it's got Deadpool 2 and Solo and Jurassic and Mission Impossible. And, you know, it's got big names that's going to be competing for similar demographic money that Infinity War has. So while it is on pace and maybe even a little bit ahead of pace of what The Force Awakens is right now, can it longevity maintain the sorts of legs and pace to get to $2 billion? I believe it's going to be close, but I believe it will. There are some people saying it's going to break Avatar's record. No, it's not. It's not even going to get anywhere close to Avatar's record. It's not even going to get within a whiff of it. But catching joining that exclusive $2 billion club. I believe there's only 3 movies in the $2 billion club. And that's Avatar, Titanic, 2 of them are James Cameron's, and Star Wars The Force Awakens. I believe those are the only members of the $2 billion club. I believe that Avengers Infinity War will be the 4th member of that club. It's going to be close, but I do believe it'll do it. We'll just have to wait and see what kind of legs it's able to have once, you know, the bigger movies come out. Okay, next one. ZCM Zombie writes, when you watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy, do you watch the extended editions of each of them? I do, actually. I do, yeah. Because I'm not in a movie theater. I'm at home. I don't think I would have gone to the movie theaters multiple times to watch the extended editions of them. It's just too long. It's just too long. But watching at home, when I can just pause it and come back to it later this afternoon or tomorrow, whatever, then I watch the extended ones. It's one of the few movie franchises where I really like all the extended stuff. Most movie franchises, even when there's extended scenes, like with Justice League, they showed a lot of the scenes that got cut out of the movie, and people were like, oh, they should have kept that in the movie. And I watched the scene, I'd go, no, they shouldn't have. It didn't add to the story at all. It's just a scene for the sake of the scene. Like a lot of the deleted scenes out of Justice League, people were like, oh, they should have kept that movie. And I'm looking at it, it's like, that didn't help the story at all. It's a cool little scene, but it was just time wasting. It didn't contribute or push the overall narrative along. Lord of the Rings is one of those and I feel the same way about a lot of the Star Wars deleted scenes too. It's like, yep, I can see why you deleted that, and yep, I can see why you deleted that. But Lord of the Rings is one of the few ones where it's like, this gives totally fresh, different angles to the movie and everything like that, and I really dig it. So yes, I do watch the extended ones when I'm at home. Pablo Diablo writes, Mrs. Campea would be pleased to know that the final scene in Infinity War was shot in the Philippines. May the filthy be with you. Go Geo. She will be tickled to know that. For those of you who don't know, my wife is Filipino. She's 105 pounds of Filipina fury. That's my wife. Go watch her in a Muay Thai class. She's not to be trifled with, my friends. She is not to be trifled with. Anyway, so yeah, I think she will get a kick. Actually, Ray, her brother, who also does a lot of the graphics for me here, he's coming over later tonight. He really gets a kick out of finding stuff like that out. I'll let him know that too. Thanks for letting me know, man. I didn't know that. I'll have to double check to make sure you're right about that, but I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Jack Wallace writes, only got a few minutes left here, guys. Jack Wallace writes, because of you, my wife and I started watching Supernatural last week, and that's awesome. Loved it. While at work, she got 4 seasons ahead of me. That's my wife when my wife's at work too, she'll have her phone open and binging Netflix shows while she's working too. While at work, she got 4 seasons ahead of me. That's great. Is this grounds for divorce? Just kidding, of course. Love your content. You know what? I mean, it's okay. First of all, let's talk here. Let's talk. Let's be real here for a second, okay? And I'm sure almost all married couples have this, and it is a stereotypical thing to talk about things, but it's a real thing, all right? So, my wife gets so mad at me when she thinks I'm getting ahead of her watching a show that we binge and watch together, right? She gets so mad. So the other day, I had about 45 minutes before I had to do my next thing. I was eating lunch, had about 45 minutes. Great. I decide I'm going to start watching this Handmaid's Tale that's winning all these awards and everybody's talking about. It's a Hulu original show, and it's winning all the Emmys and all the Golden Globes. It's winning all these awards. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start watching this. So I sit down on the couch, pop on first episode of Handmaid's Tale. I get 2 minutes into it, and Anne comes downstairs and she goes, "What's this?" I'm like, "It's Handmaid's Tale, that Hulu show. I just figured I'd start watching. Everybody's talking about it." "You're watching it without me?" Baby, I didn't know you wanted to watch a show. Yes, I want to watch that show. I'm like, okay, cool. Stop it. I said, another show for you and I to watch together. Awesome. Okay. The next day, one of the shows Ann and I watched together is Legion. The next day, less than 24 hours later, Ann's in our bathroom, sitting at her makeup area, doing makeup with her phone open, watching Legion. And I'm like, wait a minute, excuse me, what are you watching? I'm watching Legion. I'm like, did you not just give me shit yesterday? Just yesterday. Go back in time with me. Let's take a voyage to yesterday. Did you not just give me shit for for starting to watch a show that I didn't even know you wanted to watch? And now you are getting ahead of that? And she looks at me and she goes, "That's different." I'm like, okay, that's different. And what are you going to say to that? Husbands, you know what I'm talking about. What are you going to say to that? There ain't nothing you can say to that. You just turn around and walk out of the room and grumble to yourself. Like, Anne gets ahead of me on these shows, but she gets so mad when I get ahead of her. Anyway, that just kind of came to mind because you're telling this story about your wife getting 4 seasons ahead. But I'm glad you guys are watching it. I am. I have so much fun with that show. And it's all about the characters. I just love hanging out with Sam and Dean and their dynamic and all the various people, whether it's Bobby or Crowley or Castiel or all the various different characters that have come along with them along the way. I love that show. They're in the 13th season and I'm still not even remotely tired of it. So I'm glad you're able to jump on board with that. Let's see. And you best catch up with your wife. Get caught up there. Joshua Van Dyne writes, would a post-Infinity War Red Skull, I can't address that. Let's see. The Doctor 13's Blu-ray Reviews writes, "Hey John, Andrew from Cardiff saw Avengers Infinity War in 4DX in Cineworld Cardiff. It was amazing with the 4DX effects." Here's the funny thing. I've had a number of people in the last few weeks ask me, "Hey, what do you think about the 4DX experience?" And I have never been to one. I've barely even heard of them. And I know they're not in any of the theaters immediately around me. So I've never even heard of it. But a lot of people have been asking me, and like now we've got you, the doctor, kind of writing in saying you did the 4DX experience. And the 4DX effects, I'm going to have to read up on it and find out, because it does sound like it's a fun experience. Everybody I'm talking to who has done the 4DX stuff says it's a really good experience. I love my Dolby Prime experience, but if I get a chance to try it out, I will try it out. So I'm glad. Thank you for the recommendation. So everybody, if you live near a 4DX, Doctor says that Infinity War is a great experience in 4DX. If you get the opportunity, you should give it a shot. Thanks for sharing that, Doctor. Appreciate that. Matt Warner writes, okay, it's going to move beyond that. Well, no, I guess I can see this one. Matt Warner says, writers for Infinity War said deaths are permanent yesterday. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a second. Joe Byram writes, and I can't go into why because I would be getting into spoiler stuff. Joe Byram writes, well, I finally broke and now watched Game of Thrones. A girl I like kept telling me to watch it, so I did, and I enjoyed it. The things we guys do to impress a girl. Oh my God, dude. If the worst thing you have done to try to impress a girl is watch Game of Thrones, you're doing okay. Don't worry about it. Believe me when I tell you, there are many of us men in the club of men who have done far worse things in a vain attempt to impress a woman than watch Game of Thrones. So don't worry about it. You're still doing pretty fine. You're still doing okay. When really you think about it, as men, most of the stupidest, most ridiculous things we ever do in our life is our desperate, pathetic attempt to impress women. I mean, we're a very sad gender when you really think about it. The attentions of the opposite sex seems to be the only goal of our existence for a good period of our lives. It seems like there's a good period of our lives as men that the only thing we're ever focused on is trying to garner the attention of members of the opposite sex. We are a sad, sad race and gender, my friends, when it comes to that. Because really, think about it. When I look back on my life, man, some of the dumbest, stupidest things I have ever done have all been in some kind of vain, dumb, pointless attempt to gain the attention or affections of a girl, and particularly try to get some girl's attention. We are dumb. We can be dumb. Let's face it. We can be very dumb. We can be very smart. We can be great. We can be bold. We can be creative. We can be all those good things, yes. But let us not lose sight of the fact that at the heart of it, we can still be very, very stupid. At least I'll speak for myself when it comes to that. And like I said, Joe, if the worst thing you did was watch Game of Thrones, you're all right. You're doing far better than I have in my life. Ben Hayusa writes, "Hey, John, I am sure you have not taken my question from your spoiler review, Infinity War Part 2, to your Part 3 video. Infinity War is awesome, too." Well, Ben, I'm working my way through them. Hopefully we're going to get caught up here pretty soon. Like I said, we're going to record Part 5 today, and then probably Part 6 on the weekend sometime, and then hopefully that'll be it. Hopefully we'll all be all cleared up by that point. And yes, Infinity War was awesome. Inferno writes, just a couple more here, guys, and we got to wrap it up. Inferno writes, "What's your thoughts on The Pacifier with Vin Diesel? I really love the movie." You know what's funny? I haven't heard anybody mention The Pacifier in years, for good reason. And then just the other day, somebody brought up, "Hey, John, the babysitter," or no, what's the Rock one? Is it the babysitter? I can't remember. The Tooth Fairy, whatever. Either this Rock movie or The Pacifier with Vin Diesel. And so it's funny that this movie has been brought up now a couple of times. Let me just look. I'm trying to remember the name of the girl. Hold on a second. Here we go. It was Brittany Snow. I knew it was a girl who was no longer with us. It was Brittany Snow who was in that with him. I totally forgot Laura Graham was in that movie too. Wow, that's neat. No, I wish I could. I wish I could get on board with you, Inferno, and say, yeah, I love that too. It's an underrated gem. I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. I didn't like it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't like it. That I'm not taking away any of your appreciation for it, but I will admit I watched it, and I'm a big Vin Diesel fan. I get a big kick out of Vin Diesel. He is a better actor than he gets credit for. Go watch this little movie he did called Find Me Guilty. If you really want to see the pure, forget the action star Vin Diesel. If you want to see the pure acting range of a Vin Diesel, go watch this little movie he did called Find Me Guilty. And you'll go, a lot of people go, I did not realize Vin Diesel, because we just see him in all these action movies and playing a certain type of character in these action movies. I think you're going to go, I didn't realize Vin Diesel was capable of that. And he is. I'm a big fan of Diesel's. I will admit, though, that's not one that ranks up on my favorites list. I'll be honest with you. Jack Wallace writes, "There is still a working drive-in theater in my town. That's awesome. It shows double features for $5 a person. This week's features Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War. That is awesome, man. I love the drive-in. I absolutely love it. Like it's a different kind of experience. I don't know, for example, I don't know that I'd want to go to a drive-in for my first time watching Avengers Infinity War. But I would love going to the drive-in for my second viewing of Avengers Infinity War, or the double feature Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War in a big drive. It's such a great social kind of thing to do. I miss the drive-in experience. I've told you guys this story before. If you're under the age of 14, plug your ears. But on one of my last visits to the drive-in theater, this is a long time ago, I remember me and my buddies were sitting there, friends, it was me, two friends. We came in this big minivan. We sat our lawn chairs outside of the van and watched it too. But me, a couple of buddies, and a couple of dates, we went to this thing. And in this pickup truck right by us, there was a couple standing, not even laying down, standing up having sex in the back of a pickup truck. For like everybody to see, it's like, well, there we go. That's one of the most interesting experiences I've had at the drive. And I've told that story before, but it will always be with me. unfortunately. But lucky you. I would go to that a lot. I would go to the hell out of that, especially Ragnarok and Avengers Infinity War double feature. Damn right. BB8 Reviews writes, it sounds like that old lady you met in the supermarket. You're damn right. Okay. Was Walter White in disguise. You're goddamn right. P.S. Ooh, E.T. LOL. For those, it's almost hard for me to tell the story again. Basically, it's on an old episode of Open Mic. I came across this old lady who's using like one of the carts. And I'm like, asking her if you need help. Just look like I need help, blah, blah, blah. And I said, no, man, it looks like you could kick my ass. And she looks at me, you're goddamn right. And then I helped her. She goes, thank you, son. And anyway, it was a great story. It's one of the more memorable experiences I've had. Okay. I'll blow through the next 3 questions and we're going to call it a day. I'm just going to go through these really quick. Ali Hussein writes, I know it's too early to ask, do you think Captain Marvel is going to beat Wonder Woman's box office? It's way too early. I haven't seen a trailer. It's impossible to say. I haven't seen a trailer. I highly doubt it. But it's certainly possible. But again, until we start seeing trailers and everything, it's kind of pointless to even speculate. John D'Amato writes, which one are you more excited about, Captain Marvel or Ant-Man and the Wasp? Ant-Man and the Wasp. Not because I'm not looking forward to Captain Marvel. I'm totally looking forward to that movie. But I love Ant-Man. That first Ant-Man movie, directed by Peyton Reed, starring Paul Rudd, Michael Pena, so good in that. Now it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't love the Ant-Man trailer. Just being honest, did not love the trailer, but I love that original movie so much. So yeah, I'm more looking forward to the Ant-Man one. And the final question today, and by the way, guys, any of you guys who've sent in live questions I didn't get around to, do not worry. It will be in the next companion video, which will be tomorrow morning. I haven't put one up for a couple of days because we've only had an X number of questions in backlogged. Now with today, there'll be enough there to do a companion video. So there will be a companion video tomorrow. So don't worry about it. If you got a live question in here and I didn't get around to it, it will be in tomorrow's companion video. With that out of the way, the final question today comes us from Dirk Diggler, who writes, hey, John, I really enjoyed Infinity War and I'm so motivated about the MCU that I feel I can say that the DCEU is dead. I think it can be argued because of Aquaman, but it is my opinion. Your thoughts? Honestly, Dirk, I can see where you're coming from. But honestly, oops, and I forgot to reset that camera. Honestly, though, what does one have to do with the other? Honestly. I mean, essentially it's the same thing as saying, oh, I love the MCU so much. Mission Impossible's dead. What does one have to do with the other? Yeah, they're both comic book movies, but what does one have to do with the other? It's not a heavyweight boxing fight where one wins, one loses. They can both win. The DCEU, if you want to track them, yes, the DCU is behind where the MCU is, but it doesn't matter. You know, you can like the DCEU. It's as if we live in this world where you have to choose. You have to either like the MCU or you have to like the DCEU. You have to pick one or the other. And now so many people like the MCU that yes, the DCEU is dead. But that's not the world we live in. You can like both, or you can dislike both, or you can like one or the other. But loving one thing does not bring, just because you love the MCU doesn't mean you can't like Deadpool. Oh, I can't watch Deadpool because I'm an MCU person. That's not the way to look at it. So I see what you're saying, Dirk. I do, but I would say my retort to you would be, what does one have to do? What does liking the MCU have to do with the state of the DCEU? Yes, we compare them because they're very comparable. Yes, you can compare the two, but to say one is dead because the other one is succeeding, I'm not with you on that. I don't follow you on that. I think the DCU needs to reboot, but all of that has to do with because of its own state, not because of the great successful state of the MCU. Yes, we can look at the MCU and say, hey, look, DCEU, that is your potential. The DCU can be as big as the MCU. So we are clearly not living up to our potential in the DCEU, so let's reboot and start with a fresh slate. But just because you love one doesn't mean the other's dead. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say start thinking beyond that a little bit. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this installment of Open Mic. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, don't forget, a little bit later today at 2 p.m. is our big movie news show. It's the main show on my channel here, the John Campea Show, where we go through all the big movie news. I hope you guys will join me for that. And, of course, don't forget, actually, I'm going to let you know, watch God of War. the new PS4 game. I am going to be putting up a review for God of War. Probably won't have time to get to it today, but probably tomorrow, Sunday, that's going to go up online. Keep your eyes open for that. And of course, our Infinity War spoiler discussion part 4 went online last night, so you can find that on my channel right now. And part 5 will probably be online either later tonight or sometime tomorrow. Keep your eyes open for that as well. All right, guys, that'll do it for me for this installment of the John Campea Open Mic Show. Thanks so much for being here. My name's John Campea, and until the next video, bye-bye.